spirit choices, and social etiquette in different settings. Do you know the written and unspoken rules about ordering and consuming alcohol during a night out on the town with your friends? At office holiday parties? Or when hosting at home? Well, pour your favorite drink and get ready for an unfiltered, enlightening, and comfortable ride. Sip back and relax. And welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley.
Thank you for tuning in to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley. Tonight is our 28th show, which makes approximately 6 months of teaching each and every one of you the do's, the don'ts of drinking, the etiquette and the decorum of drinking in different social areas. We teach you the spoken and the unspoken rules when it comes to drinking. Tonight's topic is going to be cocktails and the LGBTQ. Are gays easy to please? And do they tip more? Hashtag in the service industry. Myth or fact? So be sure to tune in and ask your questions. Go to the Sensation Station Network page on Facebook and put your comments there. We will be reading them off. We want to hear what you have to say about this topic. I've been receiving a lot of feedback on the topics we've been doing, but you have to remember it's a question. We are to give you the information so that you can make the best decision for yourself. So this is not necessarily saying it is true, is not true, but tonight, hopefully we'll get down to it. I have in the studio with me Miss Sophia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
All right. Miss Sophia is from V103 here in Atlanta, Georgia.
No, I'm not. I'm from V103 here in Atlanta.
All right now. So how am I to refer to you tonight? He, she, because...
However you want to refer to me, I'm going to answer because I know if you're talking to me, I'm both. I'm he, I'm she.
Okay, because, I was a little confused. I was expecting you to come in full costume tonight.
Oh, it's not a costume. I come dressed up like I'm dressed now. I'm either going to wear male attire or I'm going to wear female attire. I don't come in a costume. You go to a clown show, they have on costumes.
So how did you come up with the term Miss Sophia?
Miss Sophia, but I want to back up for a second because I'm not offended by if people call me he or she or if they call me Miss Sophia or Joe, if I'm in drag or out of drag. I'm not offended. But just because I'm not offended don't mean that everybody is not offended. So you have to treat each individual on an individual basis. Okay. Is what that person want to be addressed as. And how did I come about with the name Miss Sophia? At first my name was Vanessa. But once Vanessa Williams got dethroned as Miss Gay America, I changed my name to Sophia. And the reason I chose Sophia was because I was an actress, and Sophia Lorenz was one of my favorite actors. And my last name is McIntosh, and because I went to college, I thought I was so smart, honey. So I said, I'm going to name myself after a computer. So I put the two together, Sophia McIntosh, Sophia Lorenz, and Macintosh Computer.
And where did you go to school?
I went to school at Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas.
Okay, I lived in Houston for a minute. So what do you think about tonight's topic so far?
It's a great topic, and it's just like you asked the question, how's the tipping in the gay community, honey? Tipping in the gay community, everybody know we're the best tippers, honey, because we work in a tipping industry. So, of course, we're the best tippers. And on top of that, the drag queens, female impersonators, or whatever they want to be addressed as, they are the best tippers because they work in the tipping industry.
Okay, excellent. That's good to know where you stand. But you all stay tuned. We're going to come back and find out what the rest of our guests have to say about this topic there in the service industry. We'll be right back. 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have to.
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Let's shake it up a little.
Thank you all for staying tuned. 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley, coming to you every Tuesday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on the Sensation Station Network. Just always remember that these topics are just questions. They're not statements. We're trying to get down to the bottom of whether this is myth or facts of the things that are occurring within the service industry. So tonight's topic is cocktails and LGBTQ. Do gays tip more, and are they easier to please? So let me start introducing our guests for tonight. To my left, we have Kene. How are you? All right. Thank you for being part of the show, taking time out of your busy schedule, and you traveled over 45 minutes to get here. So why don't you tell our guests a little bit about yourself?
So I am Kene Quarter, best-selling author, international speaker, and psychotherapist specializing in psychotherapy for couples and young adults transitioning through life. So that's my office is in Sonoya, Georgia, so that's why I had to travel over an hour to get here. But I can do that to be here. This is an important topic.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And so you're going to be breaking down for us, the financial part of it and why, if it is true, why gays may have more money and, what tips add up to and how people can get money so that they can tip better, correct?
Yeah, I can touch on the finance, but also some of the psychology, from a therapy standpoint. I'll touch on that too.
All right, we're looking forward to it. So let me go all the way over to my left, and we have Ak. Ak is a fellow bartender that I've worked with here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Jay?
All right.
Doing
So
well.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Born and raised in New York. I like to think of myself as the hottest and best bartender in Atlanta. No shade, of course. But
I taught you everything you know.
Come on, you taught me a few things. Yeah, real talk. But I make it do what it do, man. I stay busy in every scene, whether it's LGBT, straight, all female, all male. It's all money.
So you'll be able to speak very clearly from this perspective of if gays tip more than other demographics. That's great to hear. On the phone line, we have Kashima Peters, another bartender that I've worked with here in Atlanta, Georgia, and is a very good friend of mine. Hi, Kashima. How are you?
I'm good, Jay. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
No, pleasure's all mine. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, as far as hospitality goes, I worked in restaurants, started off with restaurants, bartending in local bars, and then I started an event staffing service where I was able to send staff out to bartend and serve most of the time at people's homes, companies, and things like that. So kind of bounced around a bit, but always staying in that hospitality field.
Absolutely, and you have worked in the LGBTQ community as well, correct?
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. And to my left over here, we have Mr. Entertainer Mustang in the house. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
All right. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am Mustang. I'm an entertainer. I entertain for both males and females. I enjoy doing what I do. And so, when we get into the topic, I'll give my viewpoint on that. But, I enjoy doing what I do.
All right. Mustang's from Chicago, my hometown as well. So West Side all day, every day.
South Side.
South Side.
Oh, three of us
South
Chicago
Side.
people right here. That's what's up. I didn't know that.
I don't feel
So let's get right to the topic at hand. We've already heard from Miss Sophia, but let's just do a thunder round real quickly. What are your thoughts on the topic? Do you think gays are easier to please? And you could take it from either angle or answer both questions because it's a two-part question.
Yeah.
And do you think they tip more?
I'll take the first one. Easier to please. I might not necessarily agree with that. I think they have a lot more fun no matter what's going on. Whether they're pleased or not, they make light of the situation. So sometimes it makes it easier to handle when they're not pleased. The second part of that is whether they tip more. I could see that, and the evidence is there from the research, and I have some theories and some speculations on why that
We'll
is.
save that a little bit for later. We're going to get into
yeah.
that. So, Ak, what's your thoughts on the topic?
My thoughts would be, man, it's it's kind of fair game. You know what I mean? I would say, yeah, there's more money in the LGBT community as far as tipping goes. I mean, I've been thoroughly blessed with, you know what I mean, working amongst the LGBT. So, like Mustang said, I love what I do. You know what I mean? I'm not complaining. I have left a few straight events complaining, though. So
Okay.
yeah, that's just real talk. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I like your honesty. So, Kashima, what's your thoughts on the topic?
I think coming from the restaurant business where you're taught to get that the customer is always right and to go above and beyond and to treat people with respect and things like that, I think the LGBTQ community really does respect that. And in that way, that's the reason why I was able to make pretty good tips, in my opinion, dealing with that.
All right, and Mustang.
So to be honest, I can't say that the gays are actually easy to please. Sometimes they are the hardest, but that depends on the people that's entertaining them. You know, that depends on the customer service given, and that depends on who you're dealing with.
All right, excellent. And so, Miss Sophia, what do you think about what you've heard from all of them?
Well, I think that everybody is speaking from their own perspective and from what, they've experienced. This is like they say that the gays are better tippers. And I think that, although I'm in the gay community, I hang out with a lot of straight people, and sometimes I know y'all say that the gays are extra, but straight people are really extra. I mean, they get to the point where, they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and when you go to a restaurant with them, they're trying so hard to set everything back. They're not pleased with anything, and so then it's just like, they're just trying to get away with a free meal. It's just like, come on, you come to a restaurant, you expect to pay, you expect to tip the service. If you have great service, you should tip the service. And a lot of people, they base their tips on the service, but that should have nothing to do with what you tip. You should tip because you're going to this establishment and you're getting a service, whether it's a good service or not.
So one thing I would say is that I have worked in both environments. I have formerly owned Boogaloo. I've worked at multiple gay clubs around Atlanta. And my experience has been that gays require, it's almost like I would say that you have to tap dance for them was my thought process to get, in my opinion, the $1. So even with going overboard and exceeding service, the tip necessarily didn't always match. So with your thought process, would you say that the gays are easy to please? Because I know that you didn't address that part of the question.
I think it depends on the crowd. When you're dealing with younger gay, it can vary. They're usually very simple as far as their drink requests go. But I don't think they have it in their mind that, tipping is generally a 15, 18, or 20%. Like, isn't that how it's supposed? And that's across the board, whether it's food, drinks, whatever. And people don't tie that part to drinks. You buy a $9 or $10, $11 Hennessy and you tip $1, and I'm like, you actually should have tipped like $2, $3.
Right. So interesting. So we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to hear what the psychotherapists have to say about this. She's going to break it down, analyzing why people tip, why they don't tip, and then we'll tell you the importance of tipping. Stay tuned. 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley.
Yo, what's up? Usher.
This is Rihanna.
Yeah, it's that Lil Chico Pitbull, Mr. Pill 5 till I die. Listen live online. Sensation Network.
Become the new you at Cobb County Kia. Get 0% APR financing for 75 months on select new 2017 and 2018 Kia Forte, Sportage, Sorrento, and Optimus. Kia has been voted #1 in initial quality by J.D. Power for the second year in a row. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. Down payment will vary with APR and credit. For example, 0.0% APR with $2,500 down payment provides for 75 monthly payments of $13.33 per 1,000 finance for qualified buyers. APR finance available through KMF to qualified buyers. See dealer for complete details.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this? Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Let's shake it up a little.
Thank you all for staying tuned. We are talking about cocktails and LGBTQ. And do gays tip more? Are they easier to please? So you've heard from all of our guests and what they feel overall. And so right now we're going to take it from a psychological standpoint and hear what our guests they have to say. So break this down for us.
So when I look at the information you sent me, a couple of things jump out at me. One, there were outliers. There weren't any outliers. So very bad tippers and very good tippers, there was nothing there. So I wondered about that, but that was just interesting, and I just put a note there. But here's some speculation and some theory that I have. Some of it is broken down into income. So whether you're black, white, gay, straight, whatever it is, your income level is probably going to depend on how much you tip. Then the other part of that is culture. So I saw on there Asians or foreigners. Well, in some foreign countries, like I recently went to Grand Cayman Islands, they don't tip there. They don't expect you to tip. So if they come to the U.S., they're bringing their culture with them. So they're not going to tip. Then you look at demographically, African Americans, one may not be in a place where they've learned how to tip, because maybe they weren't taken out to dinner when they were growing up, where on the other scale, white, especially white males, were higher up because maybe they were taken out to dinner more often, so they learned how to tip. So some of it is training, and if you haven't been trained to tip, then you're probably not, no matter how old you are or what, gay, straight, or black or white. And then the last part of that is acceptance. So some people tip because they have been disenfranchised and they are trying to be accepted. They're going to accept you however you come to them, whether the service was good or bad, because they want you to accept them, whether they're good or bad, quote unquote.
So, Ms. Sophia, what do you think about what she just said?
I agree with what she said, and it's just like she said, that some people, they have to be trained, and if you don't train somebody to do something, then of course they're not going to do it. But I want to go back to what she said earlier. And I think one of the things that really hurt the tipping industry was when they came out with this chart, because a person like myself who work in the tipping industry, I tip more than the chart said I should tip, and that way I feel like I'm making up for the other people that don't tip the service. So that's why I feel that the service should be good no matter what, if you get a tip or if you don't get a tip, because somebody's going to come through and make up for what somebody else didn't do.
So if people don't like their service, do you think they should tip anyway?
Of course, because you're not tipping because of the service. It's just like when you go to church. When you go to church, they say you're supposed to give 10% of your tithes, but you can give above and beyond the 10%, and the above and beyond is for the service and how you feel about the service and all of that stuff. So it's the same thing with the tipping in the restaurant. You automatically have to tip when you go to a restaurant. There should be a no ends, ifs, and buts about that. But if the service is great, if the service is good, you give more than what's required of a tip.
Kashima, do you feel that gays are treated with the same level of enthusiasm at hello in the straight environment?
Definitely. I think when you know that you're going to be working a quote-unquote gay party, you know that it's going to be people that are coming to have a good time. You know that people are going to be a little loose and kind of be themselves. So, I think it's definitely met with enthusiasm.
So, Mustang, what's your thoughts on what you've heard tonight? Speaking to the microphone.
So I absolutely agree with everything everybody said. I was in a relationship with a server for 8 years, and it was just our thing when we went out to eat, when we went anywhere, bare minimum, we would tip $15, $20 just to make somebody else's day. You just never know what people are going through, what they're dealing with. And most of the times when you go in certain places, certain people are only working for tips.
So do you have a certain demographics of people that tip you more, per se, like blacks, whites, or gays, or straights, or women, or men? Do you have any philosophy?
So I can't really say that because I've been tipped by all, but it's based on the customer service that I give.
So is there any demographic that you feel tip you the least, where you look, like Ox said, I've gone into some straight environments and I leave disappointed. Have you ever left any particular demographics, maybe on a consistent basis, where you might be able to say, I probably don't want to go to that environment?
For a younger crowd, both gay and straight. Okay. If it's a young crowd, it's just not going to be there.
So does race matter when it comes to the gay community, whether blacks might tip less, black gays may tip less than white gays? Any thoughts on that?
I have some speculation, and I would say yes, that could affect whether they are tipping. Some of that again comes from culture. Black culture is not necessarily to tip high or to over tip, unless they've reached some sort of social economic status, or they're trying to look like they've reached some sort of social economic status. Also, I would add, and I don't know if this is this might not be gay or straight, but 2 out of 3 African American households are black women, like single black women. So whether you're gay or straight, if you're raised by a single black woman who was trying to feed her kids, she wasn't thinking about tipping. If you went out to a restaurant, tipping was the last thing. It was like making sure everybody ate, right? So if that was the way you were raised, then you may take that into your lifestyle, and the way you tip is based on how your single mom tipped.
Right, absolutely. Great point. So, Ms. Sophia, you mentioned this once as far as people ball and not necessarily maybe having the income. It just came up over there. Somebody whispered it. So do you feel maybe Atlanta have the clientele of consumers that pretend that they have it, but their checkbook don't match their mouth?
Of course, and I don't think it's just Atlanta. I think it's like worldwide, because we have to take into consideration that the unemployment, rate is high in the African American community. So with saying that, we also have to take into consideration that these young kids are not working. So when you say, I work for the young crowd, and the young crowds, they don't really tip as much. Well, you shouldn't expect a tip from the young crowd, because the young crowd are the kids that are trying to get in when the club advertise it's free before 10, it's free before 9. So they're rushing to get in because they know they don't have no money. And if they're rushing to get in free before 10, then they don't have no money to buy no drink. So you shouldn't expect a tip from those people. And that's the difference between the white community and the black community. Because, when we go to black gay bars, they charge us to get in. They charge us for parking and everything else. When we go to white gay bars, it's free to get in all week until it's a black holiday. And then they're going to put a cover on the door, because they know we're going to come in there and just stand around wearing pole. Whereas the white people and the Hispanic people, they're going to go in and they're going to drink. And they're going to drink, and you're going to have to pack them out of the club.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great point. So be sure to stay tuned. We're going to be coming back and asking, do any of you stereotype anybody when they come in, particularly maybe within the gay community? But stay tuned. 100 Proof. Yours truly, Jay Wesley.
Become the new you at Cobb County Kia. Get 0% APR financing for 75 months on select new 2017 and 2018 Kia Forte, Sportage, Sorento, and Optimus. Kia has been voted #1 in initial quality by J.D. Power for the 2nd year in a row. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. Down payment will vary with APR and credit. For example, 0.0% APR with $2,500 down payment provides for 75 monthly payments of $13.33 per 1,000 finance for qualified buyers. APR finance available through KMF to qualified buyers. See dealer for complete details.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans
Body Tech.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. I want to be a football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
What's a dumb way to listen to an awesome mix of urban hits? Start off.
Sensation Station Network.
Too much sauce.
100 Proof. Tonight we are talking about cocktails and LGBTQ. Do gays tip more, and are they harder to please? And so we've heard some profounding comments in regards to if it is true, if it's not true. But right now we are in the Cause and the Stir segment. This is where you can write your comments down on Facebook. So go to the Sensation Station Network page and write your comments, and we'll answer your questions from there. But right now we want to ask Kashima, have you ever stereotyped? Well, let me first ask this. Do you think people in the service industry stereotype?
Yes, I definitely do. I've worked around it, definitely.
So have you ever stereotyped within the gay community?
I think beforehand, when I was first fresh out there, I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure if I needed to be, match the excitement of the guest that was there, or, maybe put on extra makeup, But at the end of the day, people just want you to be yourself. People want you to be kind. People want you to remember their name. People want you to remember their drinks. And I think that my anticipation for the amount of attention or whatever that I expected them to have was definitely different than what they really wanted.
All right. Mustang, have you ever stereotyped against an individual in the gay community?
So to be completely honest, I think I have.
Tell us a little bit about it.
No, I mean,
What happened?
so I've been at an event, or I've wanted people to have me do services for them, and I kind of look at them like, do you really have the money, or are you bullshitting? My bad. Right. My bad. And so with dealing with them, I had to find out two things. I found out people that were actually genuine about what they were saying and what they were trying to do, and then I found out the people who were, that part.
Okay. And so with you as a bartender, have you ever stereotyped against an individual?
Yes, I was there.
Not true. So, not really, man. I get along with everybody. I love everybody till they give me a reason not to.
So what about the person that's come in and they've required a lot, and consistently they have not tipped you or tipped you $1? Do you still continue to treat them with the same amount of enthusiasm and high-end service as those people that are tipping you a lot?
That's a good question. Same level
Be
of
honest.
enthusiasm. My drinks just get weaker and weaker the less you tip, though.
Right.
Yeah, you'll be drinking water by the end of the night. You know
Mustang,
what I mean?
you got something to say about this question?
I definitely wanted to answer that question. So to be completely honest, if I've noticed that the tips are low, I'm still nice. I'm still like, hey, how you doing? But the moment that you want me to entertain you, I act as if you don't exist, and I make you last priority until I see maybe $20, $30, $40 coming from you, and then I'll be like, okay, what's up?
Right. So, Kanae, what's your thoughts on everything that you're hearing right here?
I guess that's everybody's experience. Everybody has a different experience. I come from a place where I was judged a lot when I was younger. So I'm a pretty forgiving and accepting person. So most of the time, I don't come from a area of stereotype. Not that I'm not guilty of it. I'm sure I've done it. But a lot of the times, I'm good at getting people to come over to my side. Like, I'm good at that. So when I did work in the service industry, I'm just going to do what I got to do to get you to tip. And I know people, and especially now I'm a therapist. So I know people, I know human behavior. And looking at the chart, if I know that you're not likely to tip, then I'm going to give you a reason to tip. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm blunt. So I'm like, let's talk about this.
Because Shame, I hear you.
I really don't. I really don't feel it. I feel like if you're not a good tipper, you're not a good tipper. That's just how it is. And I feel like the person that keeps coming up to you and ordering that same drink or ordering whatever and is not tipping, and they just keep coming back to you, smiling, hey, how you doing, calling you by your name, it's because they just do not know how to tip. The great thing about this community is everyone is so observant, and people have so much empathy that somebody will tap that person on the shoulder and be like, hey, why don't you give her a couple $? Like, what's up with that? Or why are you nagging her? You know, and that's the great thing about this community. But I really do feel like if you're not going to, unless you have a conversation with them, and that's been had with maybe people who are foreign and things like that, but you're not just going to change someone's heart.
All right, thanks for that
if they
feedback,
just
Kashima.
don't have the previous knowledge.
We're going to go to break. Stay tuned. 100 Proof with Jay Wesley.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com. We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Hey, become the new you at Cobb County Kia. We still have 0% for 75 months on Optima, Forte, Sorrento, and Sportage. We also have that 90-minute guarantee. So this is what you do. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. 90-minute guarantee by appointment only. Purchase must be on in-stock unit. 90-minute guarantee based on original customer agreement to terms dependent on credit. Lending of $500 will be paid by check once the loan is funded by lending institution or may be deducted from the price of the car, whichever customer chooses. See dealer for details.
So this is what you do. Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
The world is changing. And we are changed.
Sensation Station Network.
Radio of Dumbbell.
Tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley. Tonight we are talking about cocktails and LGBTQ. Do gays tip more? Do they tip less? Are they easy to please? Are they hard to please? And so some of the best conversation goes on breaks. So I'm going to try to get these fellas and ladies to regurgitate that conversation. So, Kanae, you were saying that you would have a conversation with the guest and explain to them what?
I said I would explain to them the nature of our relationship. So I'm not going to go to them and say, you need to tip me more, right? That's not the conversation. I'm going to explain to them how this relationship works, because I don't think you should be authentic. I'm inauthentic. I don't think you should go to work and be upset because people aren't tipping you. All you have to do is talk about it.
So give me an idea. I'm the guest. Talk to me.
Right. So I've noticed you've been asking for a lot, and I have no problem. I want to give you everything that you're asking for, but I do need to talk to you about something. So there are a lot of people in here, and I have to serve all of them, and I need to do that in a certain way. Now, some of these people over here, they're asking for things, but they're giving in return. They're also giving. So this is a two-way street.
How
I'm
do you
going to
know that
give you,
if they haven't given you the check yet?
but I know that because they're regular customers.
So what you trying to say? Get to the point.
I'm saying you become a regular customer and let's build this relationship together. I'm going to serve
I
you.
thought we're doing just fine.
As
Right,
a manager,
yeah,
I would totally just fire you.
Yeah, and no problem. No problem, which is why I own my own business.
So, Kashima,
nobody,
tell us
all
why.
my people pay me and pay me
I'm
well.
just saying, if you're
And I'm on the same page
working
with you,
as a
Christine.
server, as a bartender, as in an establishment,
I've worked
know,
as a bartender actually and got paid well. People, people tip
So,
me.
but let's finish hearing Kashima's thought. Why would
but-
you fire her?
because you cannot have a conversation. If anything, maybe you may want to pull a manager in or something like that. But you as a bartender, as a server, you're representing that business.
I represent
So
me.
you can't just fool the people on that. This is 15% is what we are supposed to tip, and yes, I do tip 15%, 20% because I've learned that while working in the service industry. But you can't have that conversation with somebody. You can't put them in their place.
So
like
hold
that.
that thought, Kashima Mustang. You had a lot to say on this conversation
Right,
too.
as well. I feel
Pull the
the
mic
same
up for
way.
me.
Kashima, I kind of agree with you on that. I would just cater to the people who are actually tipping me, and then if that person wonders why they're last priority, I just say, hey, listen, I'm busy working, I'm taking care of some things, and this is just my first priority. And I would leave it at that.
So, but Miss
Right.
Sophia, what's your thoughts on
worse.
hearing all of this?
Well, when I heard it, I said, you're saying that you would ignore that person because that person is not tipping you.
Not
So in a
necessarily
way,
ignore.
isn't that a way of you asking that person to tip you by ignoring
Yeah,
them?
and which is worse because there's no communication.
No, not necessarily. So if I'm working and someone is constantly buying drinks or, constantly patronizing me, I'm going to cater to those people who are actually paying me because I'm at work working for tips, which is my major priority. Probably I get paid more in tips than I would hourly.
So here's how
So-
that work in the bartending industry is that those people that tip more get service much faster. People don't
Absolutely.
realize that. So if you're just
right.
tipping $1 or tipping nothing at all, I am not rushing to get to you. I'll get to you when I get
Right.
to you.
And I'm not gonna
I'm
be-
taking
I'm not gonna
care
be
of those that
disrespectful.
take care of me. Is that wrong? So that's the question right now.
Yeah.
Is
Absolutely
what
not.
Mustang's saying wrong? Is what I'm saying wrong?
What
Ak, what's your
As
thoughts
long
on
as
it?
you get to the person, I mean, as long as you
thoughts would be
eventually
that,
get to the person, but you can't.
You get what you give. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
Yeah,
that's
that's
just the way the world
exactly-
turns. You know what I mean? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know what I mean? You tip if you spend $20 on drinks and you tip $10. I'm looking like, oh yeah, you come right up, right.
But
You
I-
come to the front of the line next
Yeah.
time.
I
You know what
asked
I mean? You
Kashima
get
a
to
question.
the ball.
Kashima, you said that if you were her manager, you would fire her because she would have that conversation with the patron. But you said she should go to the manager, and the manager should have that conversation with the patron. What would the conversation be from your perspective as a
Alright.
manager to the patron?
There it is.
I think it would be more so along the lines of harassing or this is the way that this is handled in this country. And
But
this
no,
is-
they live
that-
here. They live right here in Atlanta, Georgia. They're part of the gay community, and they're at Rain nightclub.
That's very specific.
Kashima?
It just. I think it has to come from someone a little bit higher than just a regular worker.
Right. I want to know what is the conversation that you would go and have with that customer?
As
Just
a
telling them
manager.
about the custom. Just telling them about the custom. And you know what? That would be a touchy conversation to have.
Well, I can ask you, Ms.
Because-
if you like.
Go ahead, Mustang.
So as a manager, I would just step in, or if I'm notified by the bartender, worker, entertainer, whoever, hey, listen, I'm being as respectful as I can. I'm taking care of the situation. This person is absolutely not tipping me, so it's kind of wasting my time. But I don't want to deal with that and be out of order or be subordinate, so I'll let you take care of it. As a manager, I would say to that person, listen, this is an industry where they work off tips. If you're not tipping them, then you won't get any service. And if I have an issue with them after that, then I have security remove them.
So, and I like the way you handled that from a manager's
Yeah,
perspective.
that sounds good.
But Mustang, I want to ask, do you see more of this in the gay community where they're requiring a lot and tipping little?
A lot of times I see that they do require a lot, but I won't say that they tip little because I do get great tips from them.
All right, there it is, 100 proof for Jay Wesley. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is big business. This is the American way. Station Network. See ya.
Thank you all for staying tuned to 100 Proof, and we are in our On Fire segment. However, if you still have questions or comments, be sure to type them in on Facebook at the Sensation Station Network page. However, we were just talking about, is it okay for a bartender or a manager to approach a customer and explain to them that they're not tipping? And we had 2 actual scenarios given here in the studio, one from the bartender herself, and I think mostly everyone did not approve of that conversation. However, we had another demo where the manager gave the conversation, and I think most of us approved of that conversation. But Miss Sophia, you had some feedback on break about both of those conversations.
Right. I'm like, she told her that if she was the bartender, if she was her manager, she would totally fire her. So I'm like, if the conversation is to the customer, regardless who it comes from, the manager or the person who is serving the customer, if it's offensive to the customer, it's going to be offensive no matter who it comes from.
So let's go back to Kashima. Kashima, how did you think of the manager's demo that you heard from Mustang?
That was perfect.
So you would agree with that,
perfect.
but you didn't agree with the bartender Kane handling it, correct?
Well, I think it's different when it comes from the head and when it comes from just a regular person that's supposed to be servicing the client.
Right. And you have to also remember, I mean, I've owned the bar. So I've been a bartender over 15 years. I've owned my own bar right here in Atlanta, Georgia, Boogaloo Lounge. And I always told my employees you're to service anyone. And I was not having a conversation about the customer tipping or not tipping or any of that. As a bartender, there were many times I didn't get tips. And I felt oftentimes, and I'd say it, my experience has been that I feel like I had to put on my running shoes when working in the gay community, had to work extra harder for, if anything, the same amount of tip I would get in the straight environment without having to run so much, if that makes sense. So that's been my experience. But we are in our On Fire segment. This is where we tell you what's crack-a-lackin' in the beverage industry. And so the first thing is, and I want to hear you all's feedback on this, Waffle House asked black youth, some teenagers, to pay first before they could get their meal.
Well, how do they know how much they're going
to... So this follows right in line of what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Wow.
Miss Sophia, I'm saving you for last. I'm saving you for last. Kene, what's your thoughts on this? Did y'all see this on the news? Did anyone see this on the news?
No, I did not see this.
It's on the news tonight.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about during the break, the stereotyping. And if the expectation is that I'm not going to tip, you treat me like I'm not going to tip or even pay, it sounds like, then it might be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I might act out because of the way you're treating me. Now, if you would have just let me be, I might not have done that. Right. So I think that that stereotype is driving how they, not that some people don't do that. There probably are young people that go in and don't pay for their bill. But I think that's disrespectful. Just point blank.
Mustang, what's your thoughts on this?
I absolutely agree, and I think that if someone does not pay for their bill, which I've experienced and I've had encounters with that, then you just call the police and let the police do their job, and 9 times out of 10, that person will lose more than what they did not paying for their bill, and they'll end up learning in the end.
Have you ever made somebody pay up front?
Me? Well, I'm in a different business from
So is that normal for you to make somebody pay up front
Absolutely.
in your world? Okay.
Absolutely.
Kashima, what's your thoughts on this? Was that server wrong to make those black youth to pay up front first? Her experience has been that black youth has ran out on her in the past.
Yeah, that's definitely not acceptable. But at the bars, we will, if we're having an open tab or something like that, we'll hold a credit card and a driver's license.
It's a little bit
That's a
different.
little bit different. Yeah.
Ak, what's your thoughts on this? Was that server wrong for making the youth pay up front?
You know what? You go to McDonald's and Burger King, you pay first.
All right, I like that different angle on it.
Waffle House is nasty, yo. I'm just saying.
Miss Sophia, finish us out on this subject.
Oh, no ands, ifs, and buts about it. It's racial profiling, and it's worse.
Right, so would you continue to support and eat at Waffle House?
I don't eat at Waffle House.
All right.
Y'all gonna have to stop
There it is.
disrespecting Waffle House like that.
I like Waffle House, but stay tuned. 100 Proof. We'll be right back.
You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Become the new you at Cobb County Kia. Get 0% APR financing for 75 months on select new 2017 and 2018 Kia Forte, Sportage, Sorento, and Optimus. Kia has been voted #1 in initial quality by J.D. Power for the 2nd year in a row. Shop Cobb County Kia in Kennesaw and CobbCountyKia.com. Down payment will vary with APR and credit. For example, 0.0% APR with $2,500 down payment provides for 75 monthly payments of $13.33 per 1,000 finance for qualified buyers. APR finance available through KMF to qualified buyers. See dealer for complete details.
Attention, licensed financial professionals. Are you looking to provide client solutions for longevity risks, withdrawal rate risks, and sequence of return risks? If you answered yes, then Game Plan Financial Marketing could be right for you. We help financial professionals at every level of production by providing mentoring, sales training, and marketing support to help you grow your business. At Game Plan, our top priority is supporting you and helping you reach that next level of success on your terms, not ours. New team members receive a personalized, step-by-step marketing guide to help take your business to the next level. Claim your copy today. Call Brian Cantrell at 404-889-6317. That's 404-889-6317.
Offer is intended for licensed insurance professionals only.
Thank you all for staying tuned to 100 Proof with yours truly, Jay Wesley. We are having an excellent conversation on empowering each and every one of you as consumers to not stereotype, to not profile, to tip your service no matter what, I think is what we've gotten out of this conversation. Yep. But right now we are in the midst of our hot spot segment. This is what we tell you what's going on around Atlanta, Georgia area. And we are going to start with you, Kanae.
So you can join the Prosperity Club. It's a community and it's a library of marriage and money courses. And the new class starts April 1st, but you can go there now and get a $1 trial. $1, that's all, and get a 7-day financial challenge. So you go to KineCorder.com/trial. That's KineCorder.com/trial. TRIAL. And you can get your trial, your 7-day financial challenge for just $1.
All right, thank you so much. Mustang, what you got going on?
This coming Thursday, March 16th, I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada for Tempted to Touch Pride. If you're not going, you should go. And if you're going to be there, definitely make sure you get your tickets offline at www.temptedtotouch.com. But be in the building. It's going to be crazy.
All right, there it is. Kashima, you got any events coming up?
Next week, Thursday, we're doing coffee and cocktails with a realtor. That is going to be Thursday the 22nd at the Color Wheel. If you'd like to check it out, you can go to thesocialhostess.com. There'll be some information on there.
All right.
And,
thank you so much for sharing. And Miss Sophia, you saying, but are you going to Vegas to see Mustang?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
All right. So
I see Mustang tonight. Why would I go to Vegas? Why would I spend all that money to go to Vegas to see what I'm seeing tonight? But anyway, I think it's real ironic that you have us up here talking about tipping and everything, but you have all of us up here working for free.
Hello.
I'm about to tip y'all with a drink.
I'm with you when you're right.
I don't drink.
I don't know.
Well, we'll get you some water.
But anyway, I just want to let everybody know. Of course, you can join me Monday through Fridays on the Frank and Wonder Morning Show with Little Girl Talk at 7:15 Monday through Friday. And I'm a part of a wonderful organization called Cellsation. Cellsation. You can go to cellsation.com and get all the information about that. I'm also a part of a wonderful organization that we go to the mountains every weekend. We're going to Gatlinburg. It's called falltackling.com. That's the first weekend in November. And I will be going on a 7-day cruise with an organization called SGL Cruise. And this year is the 5th year anniversary. The cruise is from November the 14th. Is it October the 14th? Well, go to my page. It's October the 14th to November the 14th. One of those, right? I think it's November, though. Through the 21st. And we go on a 7-day cruise, and we have wonderful fun.
So how do you feel about Frank Ski coming back to the morning show?
I feel the same way about Frank Ski coming back like I feel about myself coming back. It's a reunion. Family, old family. We're back together again.
So you missed them.
I miss them. I miss you guys. I'm back for the listeners.
All right. Excellent. There it is. And so anything we can look for different this time around with Frank and Wanda and yourself?
Of course. Frank and I, we're going to come out in public with our open relationship. We're not going to hide it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure Frank's probably not laughing.
No, he's not laughing at all. He's like, Sophia, stop it. Will you stop? But anyway, we just want to entertain, inform, educate, and most of all, entertain you guys each and every weekday.
All right, excellent. So I want to always tell the listeners to make sure you tune in every Tuesday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on the Sensation Station Network, where radio is not dumbed down. So this takes us into our International Sip segment, where we are going to sip some liquor. So the producer and Ak, who's our bartender on the show tonight, are in the studio fixing it for us right now. But until they get into the station with it, we're just going to continue the conversation, and what we're going to give some final thoughts. So Kashima, why don't we start with you? What do you want people to take away most from this conversation? Kashima?
That service comes first. And we need to serve those that we're supposed to be taking care of if we say that we're in the service industry, because what somebody doesn't tip, somebody else will make up.
Is it okay for people to return their drink?
Is it okay for people to return their drinks? Yes, if they're not satisfied with it. Yeah.
All right. And so let's go to Mustang. What do you want people to take away from this conversation?
At the end of the day, the golden rule is to treat people the way you want to be treated. That's in anything that you do, whether it be the work atmosphere, your personal life. You know, you only get what you put into something. You only get that out of it. So at the end of the day, if you put in good tips and good customer service, then you'll get that in return. You know, and if you don't, then sometimes just wonder why people are, a little standoffish with you.
All right. And Kanae, what do you have for the people to take away tonight?
I think number one is let go of the stereotypes. You just do not know what somebody's situation is, whether they were trained or not trained, or whether they just don't have the money, right? Just don't stereotype. And then communicate, right? On both sides. If I'm gonna be served by somebody and I know I don't have any money to tip, but I'm like I have to go out because this is my girl's birthday or whatever, then maybe I communicate that. I don't know, but I think communication is really important.
Now, do you mind if I say something real quick? Just to elaborate on, because I just love her dialogue of things. You know, I'm the type of person, and I grew up with real friends and people that, you know, we would be real with each other. If I'm broke, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to know it, and I'm either going to stay at home or my buddies got me when
So
we
are
go.
you telling people if you don't got money to stay at home? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Or make sure the crew that you with, you know what I'm saying, like y'all kick it so tough that they, at the end of the day, they got your back.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that, you know, my best friends or whatever the case may be, we've been out. Sometimes they may not have it. You know, I got them. I'll tip for them. I'll do all of that because at the end of the day, I know they got me.
Yeah, and that's if it comes to that, because you may be going out with your best friend and all her work friends, which has happened to me before. I don't know those other people, so I can't be like, hey guys, can you put in for my tip? You know, no. But my girl, I'm like, it's your birthday, I'm gonna take care of you. But
absolutely
right, but we might be giving the minimum today, but know that we'll be back and we gonna hook you up.
All right. And so as you all see, we're sipping here in the studio. We're going to do a quick cheers. And we are drinking my favorite drink, which is vodka gimlet is my favorite.
Oh.
So this is also a plug for liquor manufacturers out there to sponsor your product during this section. This is usually dedicated to do product knowledge, to get people to expand their palate, because we have to stop drinking the same thing over and over, because society judges you based on what you're drinking, where you're drinking, and who you're drinking with. It's almost parallel to wearing Payless shoes, a knockoff purse, or a hoopty car, because when you're trying to act as if you're high profile, and this is what I hate at some bars that I've worked at. You act as if you're high profile, but you're drinking cheap stuff. And one thing I can say within the black community, we raise in income, we raise ourselves in education, we raise ourselves in the social circles we're in and the communities we live in. But guess what? Our drinking game don't change. So we have to up our drinking game as well. And so we're going to go to you, Ak. What is something you want people to take away from this conversation that we had tonight, as far as are gays harder to please, and do they tip more? What do you want people to learn from this?
I'm going to say this. Lesbians, y'all are the best tippers. Hands down.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. Like, hey, come on. So. Nah, that's the truth, though. But what I want people to take from this is that in the service industry, whether that's bartending, whether that's wait service, whether that's, God, I don't know, because I really stripping. Thank you. I'm like, whatever, entertainment. Like, at least 15% of the purchase price is the bare minimum of what. So you can say 1/6 of what. If you spend $6 on a drink, you should at least be tipping $1. If you spend $12 on a drink, you should be tipping at least $2. If you spend $18 on a top shelf Patron margarita for these high rollers, you know what I mean? You should be tipping at least $4, $5.
So what about the people that say make my drink strong?
Tip strong.
Right.
Tip strong. That's what I always say. You got a strong tip, I got something strong for you too.
There it is. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in each and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. We love you. And again, this show is not to discriminate, is not to perpetuate stereotypes. We come up with these topics because the questions exist. I've heard them. You know, so it's only a question. We just try to dig deeper into why people think the way they do. Why does the myth exist? Is it true? Is it not true? And what people can learn from this situation. So don't be offended by any of our show topics. We love you. And be sure to continue to tune in so that you can become a better consumer. Because at the end of the day, as a bartender, we're rolling our eyes oftentimes behind you because of the things you say, the things that you do, and it's because you just don't know. So now you can tune in to the 100 Proof Radio Show every Tuesday and find out how to interact in different settings. You want to say something real quick, Miss Sophia?
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody that when you meet a bartender or when you meet a server at a restaurant, sometimes you meet them people for the first time, so they don't know you, and sometimes you meet people that are having a bad day. So take into consideration that you have a bad day, and would you want somebody to judge you for the rest of your life because they met you the day that you had a bad day?
All right, there it is, 100 Proof with Jay Wesley. See you next week.